Let's do it. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to East Bay Charter Township Planning Commission, Tuesday, January 6th. If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if we get a roll call, please.
Certainly. Richardson.
Here.
Ferguson.
Here.
Edley.
Here.
Walters. Gonzalez. Blossom.
Present.
And Leonard.
Here. Thank you. Next up is review for conflict of interest. Anyone have anything to declare? If not, we'll move into the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda of the East Bay Charter Township Planning Commission for Tuesday, January 6, 2026.
Support.
Thank you. Motion by Mindy, seconded by, was that Renee or Rhonda?
Who's Rhonda?
Thank you. For approval of the agenda as stated, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is public comment. Got a few members of the audience here. Anybody have anything they'd like to share? Come on up to the lectern. You got 3 minutes. All right. We'll wrap her up, bring it back. Correspondence, nothing new on our desks. That's a change. Anything else we need to chat about? No? Okay. And on to reports. Mindy, you're up with the Township Board.
So we had 2 meetings last month. The first one, we spent lots of money. We approved the purchase of a fire truck at $1,041,358. We also approved didn't actually approve the money, but we have the notice of intent to spend the money for the sewer upgrades, and that's $16 million, plus a 5% contingency, so that's going out. We're still trying to figure out exactly how much money we want to put down, how much we want to bond out, that kind of thing. And of course, as everybody knows, that's in conjunction with ACME, so we're not on the hook for that $16 million, but that's the total. We also bought a car for the assessors. The primary use is for the assessing department, but it's available to all township, it's available kind of thing. We talked about Peninsula Business Park and the water problems on the back half of there. We decided not to go ahead and change the situation that's out there on the township's dime. We talked about the fire prevention ordinance, and then we also put in a grant application for the coastal management program for the 4 Mile Pier, and I'm sure Claire will tell you more about that one. That not go through, looking at me funny. Anyway, the second meeting was on December 30th, and it was the end of the year budget variance report. Another thing that was on there, it was a resolution for a cabin court and the violations associated with it. The owner is Cool Hand Holdings LLC, and the township just discussed basically what was going on, what the ordinance said, what we wanted, and how are we going to get what the ordinance requires them to do at this time. So we just had a general discussion. There was no actual vote on that, but we did have a discussion on it. So.
Thank you. Any questions for Mindy?
On that first meeting, the water problem at Peninsula Park, can you elaborate just a little bit more on that?
So there's 3 phases to Peninsula Park. The first phase, they put in a, you gotta correct me here, but 12-inch line. The second phase, they put in an 8-inch line. The third phase doesn't have any water pressure because of that 8-inch line. And there were some discussions at some time that that East Bay Township was going to pay for the line, a different line to be put in, but that was never approved by the board. There's no documentation of the discussion. It's all up in, you know. So the current owner of Peninsula Business Park, I think it is,
Yeah, one of the landowners.
came in and said, hey, we want you to put in this line going up 4 Mile to come across to get, you know, the water line close enough that we can put it in the backside of Peninsula Business Park, and that the township's gonna pay for it. And we said no.
Oh, okay. So then it's up to the land, property owners to pay for that. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
I think part of the discussion with the township board was just that there is maybe some interest or willingness to help fund priority connections, public infrastructure connections, but kind of based on the township's initiative as opposed to being approached by a private property owner.
Thank you.
All right. Paul, ZBA?
No meeting in December.
Okay. Claire, back to planning.
So just a few updates, and thank you, Mindy, for the reminder on the pier. We did, with Carl's assistance, we submitted a grant to the Coastal Zone Management Program for the design, construction, engineering for a pier public road end at the end of 4 Mile Road. So we're looking beyond just getting people out on the water. We're looking at like a accessible kayak launch, some seating out on kind of the dock or pier, but also looking kind of more holistically at the site, how to get connection to the TART trail, non-motorized sidewalk connection, bus pull-off, kind of a gateway. So kind of making use of that as more of like a township amenity, township park. So we had the Corridor Improvement Authority Board also supported with a resolution of support. So we submitted that application the end of December.
Nice.
Did want to let you know that I've been doing some research on data centers. It's a very hot topic right now across the state, as I'm sure you're aware. But I've got quite a bit of information. I wouldn't say there's like a statewide or local expert, but I have some different resources. We have a few townships and communities that are starting to develop ordinances even proactively before they're being approached. So I'm planning to have that on the agenda for next month, as was requested, I think, at last month's meeting. Did want to mention there's a zoning atlas. I'm going to send out a link because it was recently completed, but it's kind of a cool resource. It shows basically the zoning of all of the different city, village, and townships in Grand Traverse County and kind of how that interplays with the housing that's allowed. And so it kind of is a nice resource for communities as well as potential developers to kind of see what's allowed. And they're kind of looking at kind of corridors and what are some of the priority corridors for housing investment. So I think it's a nice resource, and I'll send that out. Wanted to mention that was recently completed. I also wanted to mention that the Corridor Improvement Authority Board meeting next week is going to be discussing possible zoning amendments to support the Beach District plan. So one of the items in the plan was to have something in our ordinance that requires like a public benefit or public amenity when new, like a hospitality goes in. Can we have something that requires like the hotel to be open to non-hotel guests, like members of the public, or can there be some sort of a, bike connection or, to the TART trail or different types of public amenities? Could be different options that the developer could choose from. So that's something that we've spoke with our attorney a little bit about that. That's something that will be discussed by the Corridor Improvement Authority Board, and then obviously would come to the Planning Commission for development of the ordinance language.
Nice, sounds good. Any questions for Claire?
So Claire, you sent out the MAP upcoming webinars, and there is one on data centers for February. Is that wise for us to attend, or?
That would be great, yeah. Who is that sponsored by? Because I know MAP is kind of in the process of developing some recommendations.
Michigan Association of Planning.
Okay.
Yeah. It is February 12th, 12 to 2.
Great, yeah.
Okay.
And there is a thing highlighting that planning atlas, and actually the application of it, January 12th. It's at the Curling Center, I think, next
Yep.
week, Monday. Like, I think it's 3 o'clock or something like that. But, thank you. Next up, under number 8, is approval of meeting minutes from December 2nd. Any considerations, alterations, anything we need to jump out at, anyone?
Okay, I move to approve the meeting minutes of December 2nd, 2025 for East Bay Township.
Support. Thank you. Motion by Paul, seconded by Steve for approval of the meeting minutes of December 2nd. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is new business with site plan review 16-24. It's this Elmbrook Phase 1 site plan approval. Claire, you want to get us kicked off?
Sure. So the Elmbrook development, as you'll recall, I believe it was about 200 units, 201, 203. That was approved August 20th of 2024. Site plans are good for 2 years, and there is an opportunity for an extension of up to 1 year, as long as the 4 conditions can be met according to our zoning ordinance. I would say clear, like, we haven't made any changes to the standards, there haven't been any changes to the conditions, state, federal law hasn't changed. So really what the planning commission would be evaluating is that the conditions necessitating the delay in construction are reasonably beyond the control of the applicant. So the applicant is here, Joe Lucrecchio is here this evening. There's an email from him included in your board packet, just speaking to some of the challenges with interest rate and other development challenges with getting this rolling, but he's confident that they can move forward and meet with a 1-year extension, can meet the site plan review deadline, as well as the conditional rezoning deadline, which is November of 2027. So I would recommend the extension. I'm sure Joe would be happy to answer any questions as well.
Sounds good. Thanks for being here. Sure. Any questions of the applicant? To me, it feels pretty straightforward as well. I see this every day. It is tough to do new construction right now, especially at that scale. It's a lot of commitment. And I don't think that we have any other outside funding resources tied to this from a public standpoint. So I can totally appreciate the desire to wait a little bit.
I'll make a motion to approve the extension of site plan review 16-24 Elmbrook Phase 1 for an additional 1 year with an expiration date of August 20th, 2027.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mindy, seconded by Rhonda for support of 1-year extension for SPR 16-24. All's in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks. Yeah, good luck. Take care. Next up is the steep slopes ordinance. Just for some discussion purposes, Claire, again, bring us back up to speed, please.
Sure. So this is an amendment that's been in front of you many times. And I made some modifications to it. What is in front of you, I tried to simplify and streamline the text a little bit. We discussed at the last meeting a desire to have kind of regulating 2 different items within the steep slopes ordinance. One is making sure that any development in an environmentally sensitive area, so say somebody's building a home within 50 feet of a stream, in proximity to a wetland, near the lake, making sure that they are building kind of in an environmentally sensitive area and regulating steep slopes in those areas, basically not allowing construction with very minimal allowances, kind of limiting any development in a steep slope in those environmentally sensitive areas. At the same time, we're also looking at for any use requiring site plan review. So those are your site condos with multiple home sites. Those are your commercial buildings, your industrial buildings, your multifamily residential developments. Any development requiring site plan review, also very limited in terms of kind of what can be developed in a steep slope, which we're defining as over 25%. So you'll see that I have updated the definition of environmentally sensitive areas because we previously included steep slopes as part of the definition of environmentally sensitive areas. So we've updated that to remove them from the definition, But again, going back to any development of, single family or anything requiring a land use permit, that they would need to adhere to those steep slope regulations. I did put together on page 19 of your packet, you were looking for a flow chart, so I did try to put together a flow chart. To basically, here's your development proposal. Is there a steep slope where you're looking to develop? Either no, you proceed with the normal review process, or yes, then you go to, is site plan review required? If yes, then the planning commission reviews subject to, specific sections of this proposed text. If no, then the zoning administrator would issue a land use permit, but again, subject to specific sections of the text. The last thing I'll mention is Mindy had the very good point of bringing up Holiday Forest 2 and just kind of what was developable within that site. So Sam and I took a look at it. Of the sites, we found that 26 of the 34 sites, you could build the home the size kind of what was proposed in a spot that was less than 25% slope. We found that of the remaining 9 sites, we found that 6 of the sites could likely accommodate a smaller home. So not a home that's showing like the size of this footprint, but something smaller in scale could probably be accommodated. We found that probably 2 or 3 of those sites would not be buildable. So I think that this does go back to the ordinance intent, which is to kind of develop with a with the landforms and kind of try to develop consistently with kind of the way that the existing natural topography runs with the site as much as possible. And it
Those-
likely will limit to some
Those 9
degree.
sites, the ones that not buildable, is that the 66 through 69? I'm trying to figure out which sites you,
Oh, I think it's.
I think
on
it
the
was
other side.
77, 76. I can't remember specifically. I had the notes all written down.
77 and 76, there's pretty steep going through
Yeah,
the building
okay.
envelope.
Through the building envelope, yeah.
Several of them have it going through half the building envelope,
82 also might have been one, but I could double check our notes for that. But
How many did you say would be undeveloped, or, yeah, 3?
but, and 6 more that are not going to be.
Tiny
Have
homes.
been developable with the building envelope that's currently drawn.
Yeah, even the building envelope that's currently drawn likely wouldn't be able to be, you couldn't use that entire building envelope, but we took the home size that was kind of shown for reference, and you could fit a home somewhere on that lot, based on kind of the size that they were showing, if you move it around in the building envelope.
All the way to the front.
All the way to the
I
front.
was just going to say, where?
All the way to
And everybody wants to own a house right on the road.
Was the original intent of the steep slopes ordinance, was it more geared towards conforming to the natural topography of the land, or just to prevent sedimentation, erosion into water bodies and things like that?
I think both of those. I think another desire, at least through the master plan and kind of some stated goals in the master plan, is to preserve the tree canopy. And so you'll see in a lot of, taking out trees is very noticeable, but I think specifically on steep slopes, it's even more noticeable. So just from kind of like a scenic vista perspective, as well as, the runoff and the impact to the wetlands and.
So effectively, what we're looking at is we would do a public hearing at a future or a later date if we're okay with the changes that were being proposed.
Yeah, I would like to circle back with legal counsel on these, because I kind of just, I drafted it based on our discussion, so I'll get this reviewed, make some minor tweaks if necessary, but yeah, you could schedule a public hearing for February if you wanted to.
This was super helpful. That's impactful for me to just be able to see and understand. I was kind of in your camp, meaning I thought we were taking away more.
Yeah, I thought we were taking away the whole development.
Hmm.
That's what it was in my brain, that wasn't, that development. I don't know that it's financially possible losing those sites, right?
Right.
But, at this time, but, I thought we were losing that whole development. And I didn't feel like that was what our goal should be, because we have a competing goal of, we have a housing problem,
Right.
but we're making it so we can't build houses. So that's why I was very concerned. So this really helped me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I also have, and Greg Hawarda dropped off just a kind of large-scale site plan of what he had sent out that shows kind of the areas of his site too. That would be if that's helpful reference for anyone. But it just kind of shows the areas that are beyond 25% and less than 25%.
Any other questions for Claire? Would you like a motion?
Yeah. To set the public hearing, that sounds
Set a
good.
public hearing?
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for zoning amendment 1-26 steep slopes.
Support? I don't, did you have more to say? Sorry.
I was gonna say at the next reasonable meeting or something, but I don't think I need to, so.
And we'll wait to hear back from Claire on timing with legal counsel's input too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably February, but.
Okay. That was 1-26? All right, we've got a motion by Mindy, seconded by Steve for setting a public hearing for ordinance amendment 1-26, the next available moment, we'll just say. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the bylaws review. Back to Claire.
Okay, so I apologize. I think we first discussed in September making some minor modifications. We had a few questions for legal counsel. A lot of it came down to just like our procedure from public comment standpoint, and we just want to make sure that that was kind of transparent, consistent amongst all boards. Beth is currently working with the chair of each board commission to kind of draft a public comment policy, very similar to our current policy, which is on the second page of the agenda, but just kind of making some additional clarifications, and it would be something that would be adopted by each board and commission. So we decided to kind of leave the public comment process out of the bylaws, just keep the consistency. So anyway, so the bylaws, very limited changes. I did, per Paul's comment, made sure that the order of business reflects the order of business that we currently go through. But other than that, made a few minor text edits. But you have the opportunity to adopt the amended bylaws today, I think, in your bylaws, as long as they're posted at least 3 days prior to the meeting, public meeting. You can amend them really at any meeting that you see fit.
Is there a specific issue we're trying to address besides the inconsistency amongst the boards?
With the public
Commissions.
comment? So sometimes we'll get requests from the public for a presentation, or, we'll say like, oh, you can do, a certain amount of time based on a certain number of people. And so we just want to make sure that we provide that opportunity, but it's consistent amongst all the different boards and commissions.
Okay.
In the order of business, this is the new order of business, correct? Repointing the A through J.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. And then one slight comment here. Under 3.3 for special meetings, it says notice, on the second sentence, notice of the special meeting shall be given by the secretary to the members of the Plan Commission. I wonder if we could add in there the secretary or his or her designee.
Yeah, because I think we
Otherwise-
do go back at the beginning of the bylaws and specify that the secretary can have a designee
Okay,
under
just-
duties, but
Yeah,
Such as staff.
yeah, with that, whenever I was reading that.
I think Carl
Carl's
should
gonna be
notice
busy.
everybody.
Didn't
Yeah,
even know
that
was
sounds
in
good.
my-
Or their,
Guess what?
Feel-
or their
feel like
designee.
empowered.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Thank you.
That sounds good. We can make that change and then finalize them.
May I inquire as to public comment in the written form as well? Are we making any changes to that? Because historically, that was posted, right, in the packets, but I know that was a lot of work back and forth when it comes in the day of or 5 minutes before the meeting to be able to get that posted. But that truly is public comment in a written form. So where would that be captured?
So right now, the kind of the policy that we have is that it just gets distributed to each board member. It's not included in the packets, and true, that was challenging. We had, for some agenda items, many pages that were being updated kind of up into the meeting. And then when they came in and kind of that week after the packet had gone out, so we found that just kind of from a transparency, but also just consistency standpoint, just to have it go out to the board members.
That being, I've been asked a couple of times, that being a public comment, is there maybe an opportunity, instead of updating the packet, just having another folder on the tree where you have all of the different files, so that public comment is recorded? Because right now, it's not recorded, but if you're speaking, it's recorded.
Yes, I think that would be a good thing to have kind of discussed through this public comment policy. So, yeah, I'll circle back with Beth on that, and as she kind of works with each chair.
Okay, thank you.
So with Carl's capture of adding some additional support, we'll just say, to the responsibilities of secretary, are we comfortable with what's been presented?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve Planning Commission bylaws amended 1/6/26.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by Carl, seconded by Renee for approval of the Planning Commission bylaws amended 1/6/26 with that additional friendly amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Last up is Planning Commission Annual Report. Dr. Claire.
Okay, so we had a pretty busy year, but it was interesting when I was looking at, we had 11 site plans this year, 2025. 2024, we had 23 site plans, so significantly less development going on, and I think that probably does speak a little bit to interest rates and just some of the current development conditions. We do have a lot of building going on, and a lot of that was approved in 2024, 2023. So just a few highlights. I won't read through the whole annual report, but you can certainly do that. We did have 3 site plans that were approved this year that resulted in about 300 new housing units. So those have not been constructed yet, but that's what we've approved between Crimson, the Calypso, and the Town Line Apartments. We approved, we had a lot of public park reviews, which was kind of interesting. 3 of our site plans involved public parks, both the state park as well as the Camp Graylick. In terms of zoning text amendments, we had quite a bit of text amendments. We had 6 new amendments that were approved. I think a lot of those circle back to some of the goals that we had from 2024, looking to 2025, of just kind of addressing a few of the issues with the zoning ordinance that we hadn't finalized. One obvious one is the temporary dwelling units, and then a few other kind of housekeeping issues that we found that we needed to address. In terms of variances and appeals, I have found that each year we're having fewer and fewer variance and appeals. So we had 4 appeals that were approved, 1 that were denied this year. We still kind of stayed steady with the land use permits that we've been issuing. So we had 44 new single-family dwellings that were issued this year. We've been generally hovering around 50 or so for the last, 5 or 6 years. We're also looking to track new home construction to kind of better understand like the new occupancy that's been. So I was just working with Bill and also with Ashley at Grand Traverse County Construction Code today, and our current number is that we issued, that Construction Code has issued 99 new occupancy permits for 2025. So those include single-family as well as multifamily. We issued a number of occupancy permits for multifamily as well, and I think that you'll continue to see that tick up. Like there was 51 that were issued in 2023, 49 in 2024, but I think as we approve more multifamily, you're going to kind of see an uptick in the number of new dwelling units of occupancy permits. Notably, we have 126 short-term rental licenses, which means that we have 19 available licenses below our cap. So March, I think March 10th is when the license renewal opens for new licenses. So if somebody is interested in getting a short-term rental license, we're going to be messaging that through social media, through kind of all of our different traditional avenues, as well as on through public notice and on the website. So those licenses are available. You still need to meet all the ordinance requirements, which includes the 1,000-foot separation between any existing short-term rentals. So that does limit the number of properties that are that can apply. In terms of code enforcement activity, you'll see there's a number of we've got number of cases, number that are resolved, and then the number that are unresolved. I do want to make a clarification specifically to the short-term rentals. It says we have 7 unresolved. It's actually only 2. So we have fewer of that. Bill Vandercook, our zoning administrator, is here. He's happy to answer any questions related to code enforcement activity, and I'm just going to finish going through this annual report, and if you guys have any questions for him or myself, we're happy to answer those questions. In terms of trainings attended, we attended 7 conferences this year. A highlight was going to the National Planning Conference in Denver. That was a good experience, got a lot of good information. Also, we had presentations. We presented at the Michigan Lakes and Streams Annual Conference in Muskegon, and also at the Michigan Association of Planning Conference in Kalamazoo. The Beach District, as you know, that sub-area plan was formally adopted by the Planning Commission. The Corridor Improvement Authority was established. The Corridor Improvement Authority Board has met twice in 2025, and has a draft of that TIF, the tax increment financing plan, that they're kind of moving forward, and will be looking to have the Township Board formally adopt that in early 2026. In terms of trails, we've made a lot of progress in 2025 on trails. We're looking at a June of 2026 construction for our Safe Routes to School, so that's almost 2 miles of trails right out the back door, which is exciting. We also approved 2 brownfield plans that include a public trail component. So the township will actually be building the connection from the development to in the case of Crimson, we'll be building a trail to the Land Conservancy headquarters. And in the case of Live East Bay, we'll be building the trail from the terminus of Safe Routes to School to their development. So those are kind of nice opportunities to do some trail connections wrapped into funding from a brownfield plan. We, as you may recall, we hosted the Farmland and Open Space Community Forum in May and got some input on some changes to the cluster standards, and so that's something that we are looking to reevaluate. Looking ahead to 2026, I just put a few punch list items on here, and I was really looking to get some input from the Planning Commission on what you would like to focus on for 2026. But we are looking to update the capital improvement program. We are looking to continue to pursue grant funds to complete a non-motorized visioning effort as well as a plan. I think that will set us up to kind of continue to fill some of those gaps. We are looking to complete the RRC certification through MEDC. We're looking to adopt the TIF and development plan and to move forward with implementation on some of those key low-hanging fruit key projects. Construct the Safe Routes to School trail and also the Civic Plaza that's coming this spring. And then revisit some of the zoning items. So we're looking at zoning for data centers and battery storage, finishing up the steep slopes protections, the hospitality amendment that I mentioned, and then also review zoning in commercial areas in light of some of our public visioning related to signs and setbacks. So those are just some of the items that we're looking at. You'll also see that we updated our master planning dashboard, so that kind of gives a nice snapshot of all of the actions in the master plan and what's been completed. The two actions that have been completed this year, one is the establishment of the Corridor Improvement Authority, and the other one is enacting the ordinance for septic inspections at the point of sale. And kudos to the county for tackling that one for us, but that also was one of the township's high priority actions that we were able to partner with the county on, and that went into effect this January. So.
What do you think?
One of the things that I would like to see on our hit list, if you will, is the light pollution discussion. I was driving down the corridor and Mount Holiday was lighting up the world at about 10 o'clock the other night. And
Okay.
when I drove by it, nobody was skiing, and I didn't understand why we needed to light up the world when...
Just let you know when they're making snow.
You know, we're just testing and tuning snowmaking.
Yeah.
Be
But
sure.
it's on all night long.
Oh, it is?
A lot of times, I think, yeah.
Oh.
I think, I mean, because it seems like I
There's
get
no
up
reason
early.
to
and
have
see
that
it all.
much light.
Nobody complains about that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just see it from a distance, so I don't know.
Right.
I think
There's
it
no
is-
ordinance. What are they going to complain about?
I think it is snowmaking, though.
Well, there is an ordinance for all commercial uses, and so they would fall under that. They would be legal non-conforming. And so that is part of the challenge with the existing businesses. I do think that our lighting ordinance for multifamily, commercial, industrial is pretty tight. Like, we do pretty strictly follow all of the dark sky requirements. So I don't know how much we can clean up our lighting ordinance for those uses.
Well, we got the
But
residential.
we don't have
for the
anything for
future, right?
residential. Yeah.
Residential for the future.
Yeah. So I guess specifically, what would you want to be looking at for?
The residential in the future, right? Making sure that that new homes are complying with,
Okay, so new residential,
yeah.
single
Maybe
family.
phase one, and then phase two, what can we do about existing? If there's
I don't
opportunity
think we
for
can.
education. No, well, township wanted to do some mailings before because the board wasn't really interested in doing a dark sky. So maybe there's some opportunity to kind of revisit what they've done and enhance it, maybe in a phase two.
Yeah, we did include it like in our newsletter. We had some information. We've got some on our website, but we can revisit some of the education. I'm thinking back to the single-family lighting discussion. So I recall that it was at I think it was a joint meeting between Township Board and Planning Commission. We talked a little bit about two different options. One, police power, which one benefit is that there's no legal nonconforming. I guess that's a benefit and a challenge. And then the other option, and I know Peninsula Township has it within their zoning ordinance, regulating residential, which again is a challenge, but that would be for any new homes. So certainly something if the rest of the Planning Commission wants to circle back to that.
Well, in our lighting ordinance right now, do we have anything which has a timing on it that after a certain time, the certain lights, not house lights, but certain, let's say, decoration lights should be turned off?
We do with our new ordinance
The new-
related to commercial developments.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like if
talking
it's
about
not, if the
residential.
business is not in, yeah, we don't have anything for
Yeah,
residential
well,
right
then
now.
you may want to put that down.
We slept pretty late at home out back.
Now, I'm not talking about the house, I'm talking about, there are some
Medicine bulb strings and
folks
stuff
that
like that.
have strung trees with lights all over the place. And it's very pretty, it's very decorative at 9, 10, but it's not that decorative at 4 in the morning.
Correct.
So it's just a question that something may to look
Yeah, how do
at.
you get your neighbor to use them?
Well, I think education is, knowledge is power too, you know, start with what the township's already sent out and then move into,
Yeah, but we don't have any, you have to have a rule to educate.
right, but you can do education.
Well,
It'd be-
yes.
It'd be informative for the neighbors to understand the impact to the environment
Yeah, I'm
with
just
their
talking
lights on.
hypothetically right now.
Okay. Well, we can do a TikTok video and start educating.
Can we ask Joe?
Bill's got some job security.
Police power ordinance, maybe.
Well, I guess my question is to Paul's point, is that something where you guys have a record or like an ongoing track of complaints, or are we
Not-
just making stuff up?
Yeah, not normally about lights. So there's a few that's been on the lakes since I've been here. Those are the only real, we had one against our park building that went up, the restroom out, so we had to change out our light on our own building, so.
I'm glad you do, because Traverse City has at the East Bay Park, they have a building there, and the light that they have on should at least be covered, domed down, but that thing just lights up quite an area, and of course, we've talked to Traverse City, and they're certainly listening, but it's something, I agree, that it can be very annoying, especially when you're on the water. That really, it does carry the light quite a bit.
I just don't want to involve additional resources for undocumented problems.
There's a lot of lights in the township, if you really start I do look because I come in and I make some calls, actually, without anyone calling me. Some of the hotels, in 31, have put some pretty brilliant lights in that we've asked them to shut those lights down, and they've complied,
Yeah, the business is easy,
Yeah.
theoretically, and I'm just saying that as just when we look at the ordinance, just maybe spend a little bit of time on that, that's all.
I think the shielding of the lights and the lumen of the lights, that's important, so someone can document. I think the point about just knowing what they're going to do with lighting, maybe in a permit, would be helpful, like, that would be a good start, maybe, just a thought, but to enforce lighting in the township, it would be a challenge, I would say. If it was opened up and people knew that it was opened up and there was ordinance, I think we'd get a lot of calls, but.
I think it'd be significant staff resources, so part of that is a policy decision, probably, along with zoning policies.
Well, I appreciate staff resources, but I also think about the quality of life.
It's not impossible.
Switching gears just a little bit, one thing I wanted to have a conversation about, which is the TIF development plan.
Do you
tied to
guys
the
have
story.
anything else on enforcement?
Oh.
Bills up here?
I had a quick question on junk and blight, just because I see a lot of it.
Yeah.
So there were 21 cases, 8 resolved, that's fabulous. 13 unresolved, does that mean just they're in the works?
Yeah, I think there's a few more we have resolved that I give updated
Oh, okay,
lists for
since that-
Claire. But I think there's, what was it down to, Claire, on your?
13?
I gave Claire some new numbers.
That didn't change that.
Yeah, not that much. It went down a couple, but still.
15 actually are unresolved.
15?
It went up from, but the cases went up.
From 21 to 26.
Yeah, so the cases went
Oh,
up, and so
okay.
we
The
got
number
15.
resolved.
Oh.
Yeah, so,
Makes sense, okay, 15.
yeah. I think that, like our attorney wants to take individuals to district court, and I try to use some discretion of those people. They're a little more challenged when I find people that, a rooster is different, and the sign is different, and, some of the other, even environmentally sensitive areas, they realize what they've done, and they want to take care of it right away, right? But when it comes to the people with junk, they don't see what they have, right? And so I'm probably a little bit more lenient with those people. I've talked to Claire recently about, there's letters going out for these people, and we're going to follow up. And that could just be, instead of doing, district court appearance ticket, give them a ticket. Just give them a ticket. And then if they don't, in a couple, 3 months or 4 months, follow up, then they're going to get a district court appearance ticket. So, we are looking at that, but it's almost a case-by-case basis, Some people don't have the resources. We've actually worked with GFL. Actually, they give us a dumpster for a homeowner, and they said they'll give us a couple more. So some people, we thought about maybe having a place that we could put a dumpster, for a day so people could throw some garbage in.
It's expensive to take something to the transfer station.
Yeah, yeah, the small little dumpster they dropped off was $400 and some dollars, so, yeah.
Okay. No, just curious.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
My only question is, back to the development plan, it talks about, just key projects. And I presume that'll probably be led by the Beach District folks and the Corridor Improvement Authority, and will run through us and the board at some point? Or just more as informational?
Yeah, so it'll be, that's a great question. More informational. We're looking to probably have a joint meeting between the Corridor Improvement Authority Board and the Township Board to review that draft plan. Would love to have any planning commissioners attend, just because I know that you guys have been pretty involved in the process and would probably have some good insights. But we are looking to have the development TIF plan, if possible, adopted by May, because that would allow us to use the 2025 tax roll for our base year.
So that combo meeting you're talking about is yet to be scheduled, right, later on in the year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that would be a public meeting. We're looking at having the Corridor Improvement Authority recommend the plan at their meeting next week to the Township Board. The Township Board could schedule the public hearing at their February meeting. And then they wouldn't be able to adopt the plan for 60 days. So during that 60-day period I think would be a good opportunity for like a working session and to continue to gather input from public, planning commissioners, anyone else that has input on the plan.
Any other questions about the report for Claire?
So do we have a general consensus? I do want to go back to the lighting because I know that that's something that we've had a joint meeting on. It was a topic that we felt was important. The decision after the last joint meeting between the board and the planning commission was to focus on the education and not make any changes to the ordinance. So I just want to circle back to see if there's kind of a general consensus of the planning commission that you do want to revisit ordinance changes, or kind of what is the direction?
I like Bill's comment that we just need to see what they're gonna put in so that we can use that education piece and have the ability to make suggestions at that time, if you will, instead of
But
an ordinance revision, because I know there was some pushback on an ordinance revision, but
I don't think we can ask them for that information unless we have ordinance standards, yeah.
When you say ask them, ask
An applicant, like someone that's got a new build, we would be like, hey.
A
we need-
residential
Yeah, we need the
development.
cut sheets for your home, what outdoor lighting are you mounting? What are the details, the lumens, the fixture, is it downward shielded, those types of things. So we can certainly get that information. And I have talked with Peninsula Township kind of in terms of how they administer that, and they do require that information with the land use permit. But I think we can only require that if it's tied back to an ordinance standard.
I think that what I'm referring to is 99% of the time it's spontaneous. You know, somebody has a good idea, so they do it, but they don't think about the ramifications. They just think about how really cool it looks. And there's nothing that we have that really guides them as to what would be, shall I say, acceptable.
Best practices?
Best practice, yeah. But you do look around and you do see some of these things as, not in this township, but in our township over, there's, around the lake area, there are some folks that have decided that they're going to have all these lights all over their dock, and that's fine, but you don't need them on all night. It's things of that nature.
No such thing as common sense anymore.
Excuse me?
There's no such thing as common sense anymore.
Not unless it's legislative. So it's just, when the conversation comes up, just throw that piece in.
I guess just from my part, I guess I get really hesitant to get into regulating individual residential lighting. I just feel that's like a hornet's nest, and super complicated, I think. This is how I feel.
Personally, I don't really want to have Bill out in snowshoes every winter at 4 o'clock in the morning, and stuff. I can appreciate most of it, but I also feel like if he's not getting, or if staff's not getting the outcry from the public, then I'm not gonna wake up the sleeping animal, a sleeping giant, till it's time. If it was a thing that continuously happened and you were getting bombarded, we would hear about it, and we would get asked to do something. I don't know.
I think we have been asked a number of different times from a number of different groups and organizations throughout the past year or two. I think we have been asked, for some dark skies.
And I think the buck has always went as far as the board. And the board has said, we're not interested.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm wondering if there's a happy medium somewhere. Because I agree, that this could get really hairy, right? And spend a lot of staff time into what's the actual benefit of it. But I also believe that the education piece with when you submit your plans, you have to pay attention to what the light does, right? That, it's gonna go a long way, and then the other whole piece of that is that if you don't have an ordinance, you can't regulate a problem, right? But if we're not having problems, I get it, and if it's not the pleasure of this board, I'm okay with that too.
Do we need to just call it out, we could do that, take a vote.
It might be helpful just for me in drafting because I need to provide the planning commission's annual report to the township board. So that'd be helpful direction.
What will we be voting on?
Well, I think there's just more of a,
Do we want to add it to our
Yeah, I
plan?
thought the question was.
We were on the plan.
What should be in the future?
Yeah, so I have explore a single-family residential lighting ordinance and additional education would be like a bullet point. And that would be kind of yay or nay.
I'm fine with exploring it.
That would be that would be something that would come in front of the planning commission, be on the agenda. We'd be drafting, doing some research, that type of
That's
thing.
reasonable to have, especially if you could present us with some ideas of what other people have done.
Mm-hmm.
We could possibly then discuss the ramifications between township and staff time and things like that with some language in front of us.
Yeah.
Like you said, Peninsula Township has a residential.
Yeah. And I think we did that about this, are you guys recalling that?
About lighting?
Yeah, residential lighting. Do you remember that, Mindy? We had a joint meeting with the Township Board and Planning Commission. We reviewed Peninsula Township's ordinance.
Was I there?
You might not have.
We did a whole study about the dark, it was all about dark sky and that whole thing. And that's when we decided that we were gonna put some education in the newsletter and try to go from there. But the township board, as I recall, basically said, we're not doing this. This is residential, you can do what you want on your property.
Yeah, I provided some research that showed some examples of police power ordinances and also
Yes.
zoning ordinances,
Yes.
different policy tools.
Maybe we revisit it with the joint board meeting or at the joint board meeting between the planning commission and the board, because that'll happen at some point in the not so distant future, I would imagine.
Yeah, we don't actually have a meeting scheduled for a joint meeting. Normally, we have a topic of interest. Is there anything else that you would anticipate discussing with the township board besides lighting that you think would be relevant to kind of coordinate on?
I'm just thinking of things that we've run into, issues. I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job of talking them through with our applicants better now than in the past. And with the new zoning code, I think that's helped eliminate a lot of doubt as to which way we look at things. As far as other topics are concerned, I think that it would be helpful, honestly, to have some additional input with that, and I'm just being biased, with that beachfront implementation and what people want to see down there. I think that would be great just to throw out there ideas, brainstorm. I think that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think there's a number of zoning recommendations that I think would make sense to bring in front of this board and to have some work session on that. So that could also be a topic for a joint meeting.
Just brainstorming. But I would bet that we'll probably land right where we started.
Yeah. Sometimes I get bugs on me, and that freaking light did not make me happy the other day. I mean, it was like brighter than the moon. Right? Why? Why was my question, right?
I saw it coming back from the peninsula one night, and I was like,
You can see-
whoa.
So that and Hickory Hills, you can stick out.
Yeah, it's on the other side. But it's also, they're doing
But
the
I-
thing.
We see it all the time.
Bring your snowshoes out, I'll take you for a hike.
Well, I just felt like
Gloves.
it's a waste of money. It's a waste of energy. Do all of them need to be on? Can we turn half of them off? You know? And they weren't making snow at the minute. Maybe they were 5 minutes after I drove by, but
they weren't when I drove by. I'm sorry, Steve, you guys are getting all the money from the,
Steve was just saying he can't see it from his house.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't see it from my house either, but I saw it from the highway.
You can see it in the sky. The other night I saw it, the whole sky was lit up.
Was it like?
It's probably the
foggy
night,
yet?
it was probably the night you started talking about, because I was like, wow, I don't recall usually seeing that.
It was like,
I'm like, yeah,
what's going on?
it was bright. Yeah.
So I don't know what we're voting on.
Are we voting on anything?
I don't know.
You know what, why don't we just plan to have a joint meeting with the township board, topics to include?
Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds good. That'd be a good.
I don't think we
basis.
need to make a joint meeting for this topic, though. I think that if we have something that comes up, we just add this to the
A
list.
list.
Yeah,
yes.
that sounds good.
Yes.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds like a plan.
That being said, we do have a motion to consider adopting the report.
We have a motion?
We have one provided by staff.
Oh, I thought we had one on the table.
No.
That's not the right
Page 26.
I'll stick it together. I'll make a motion to approve without the changes.
We'll make a few changes.
Okay.
Discuss.
Approve with changes, sending the 2025 Planning Commission annual report to the Township Board.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mindy, seconded by Carl for sending the annual report of the 2025 Planning Commission to the Township Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is any comments of the Planning Commission at large? Anything new?
I have one.
Go ahead.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but Junie Nemitz passed away last week.
What?
That's my reaction. So I just want to, let everybody know and thank her.
Oh my
She was here for many years serving with me on this board, and just wanted to take a moment to appreciate her.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
A lot of time in here.
That's crazy.
A great loss.
Wow.
Sorry to bum everybody out.
No, I'm glad you told us. I had not heard that.
Switching gears, go a little lighter. I appreciate greatly the work that's been put in on behalf of our staff in chasing these grants. There's been a lot of time and effort put into that, and we've collectively been way more successful than most places. I can promise you that. So I'm very thankful for that, and I challenge you with one more. There was one release yesterday that's dedicated to the improvement of public spaces. And it's sponsored by T-Mobile and actually Main Street America. It's like 50K, it's very open. And,
We have applied twice for that one.
Really?
T-Mobile one, for the Civic Plaza. So now
Okay.
we have funding for the Civic Plaza.
right,
But I think that there are some different opportunities for projects in East Bay Township, so thank you for bringing that.
yeah,
Yeah.
just FYI.
And if you know of anyone, any reviewers, or if you could put in a good word for us.
Keep it in mind.
Okay,
Some new opportunities come available.
sounds good.
Any other additional public comment? Thanks for being with us. Hope you learned a little bit, got a little experience. Oh, and which school are you guys from? Central? All right. Well, welcome. They're actually sometimes even more riveting than this.
This was a quiet one.
Our next meeting is February 3rd, which I will likely be in the mountains at that time. So someone else might get to lead that one.
Are we opening it up to WebEx now for meetings?
I'm sorry,
I saw-
what?
So the township meeting, a couple of meetings, Beth joined via WebEx, I assumed, or Zoom or something.
Oh, okay.
So I wondered if we were starting to do that too.
We
for
are
travel.
not allowed to, based with the Open Meetings Act, you're not allowed to, make any decisions, like any voting could not happen if you participated. So I think, potentially we could have somebody participate via Zoom, just listening, but
Couldn't vote,
would not be able to make any decisions.
but they could converse and be part of the meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure, that's a good question. I'm not sure the details on like exactly what is permitted. I don't know if they're allowed to like deliberate.
I promise
Because I
you.
just watched a few and I wondered if
will
we were
not have
changing
Yeah.
something.
Wi-Fi access or cell phone service.
There
where
goes
we're
that.
at.
But if
You
we can
don't-
get Dan running the meeting from the mountains.
Yeah,
You
be in
don't
a
want-
snowmobile.
You don't want me doing that out there. Not at that
I
time.
just figured we'd bring a thing and just turn it around so we can see you.
Just put a Joker hat right here. Just fine. Anyway, February 3rd is our next meeting at 6:30. Thanks, everybody. We are adjourned.